Recently, a lot is being said about the decision by the Chhattisgarh government to acquire information on the Secretariat of Vidhan Sabha under the
Handy.
RTI. That's the 50 times
500 rupees.
price hike.
500 rupees.
50 times price hike from 10 to 500. So it has
Okay.
led to a major uproar among the RTI activists. So I would like to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. What's your reaction to this?
I think it is ridiculous. And if citizens do not protest, this could be the beginning of the end of RTI. The Legislative Assembly taking a step like this, the law of course gives them the opportunity to decide what the fees should be.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't exactly fault it in terms of pure legal terms, but the law says that the fees shall be reasonable. And whereas all of the public authorities in this country have application fee of 10 rupees and 2 rupees per page, it just cannot be justified that the Chhattisgarh Legislative Assembly believes that 500 rupees and 15 rupees would be reasonable.
So when it is just well within the framework of the RTI Act, and so on what grounds really do we go against this move? Because an information commissioner at some stage has to say that it's the decision of the competent authority to decide the fee, and the information commission can only set an advisory. So on what grounds do we really go against this?
Yeah, because the law talks of a reasonable fee.
Definitely, sir.
So if the fee is to be reasonable, and all over the country it is 10 rupees and 2 rupees,
Mm-hmm.
how can anyone justify and say that 500 rupees and 15 rupees is reasonable?
Completely, sir. So the reason the Chhattisgarh Legislative Assembly gives is that they're trying to do away with all the frivolous and senseless applications that are filed just for the heck of it. And also Supreme Court has observed in one of its judgments that you cannot expect the government machinery to devote most of its time and resources just to keep providing information under the RTI and put aside the main objective for which it has been formed. So how would you react to this? I mean, this
First, the Supreme Court's remark that 75% of the employees is not based on any study or any rational thing. It's just a observation that's been made without any basis.
Mm-hmm.
This is far, far, far away from the truth.
So
the actual fact, if at all some analysis was done, would you like to do a back of the thumb kind of analysis of what the actual situation is?
Definitely, sir, definitely.
All India, central and state governments put together, the total number of RTI applications is unlikely to be over 80 lakh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Let's assume a crore applications. Normally, an average time, there are there are various kinds. There were some that may need 5-6 hours, but the average time to dispose an RT application by a PIO, if he does his job properly, will not be more than about 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we are looking at 2 crore hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've done this calculation earlier.
Okay.
If you just divide 2 crore by assuming 6, just a minute, I'll just do it for you. 2 crore divided by 6 hours working per day will come to so much, equals to divided by 200 days per year. 16,660, 16,000 people.
Okay, are needed for this.
In a whole year.
Okay.
Are needed to do this. Supposing 16,000 people just do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what percentage of the total country's government employees does this represent? By this estimate, you need about 16,000 employees full-time to do this job.
To do this job, yes.
Okay. Now, this is nowhere disproportionate to the total number of staff in the government. The central government has probably about 40 lakh people. State governments will have another 60 to 80 lakh people.
Mm-hmm.
So 16,000 of that is what proportion? It's negligible.
Mm-hmm.
And really speaking, the amount of corruption it can stop, it has the potential of stopping, is huge.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and secondly, the right to information is a fundamental right of citizens. Purely philosophically, any charges for providing information are really anathema.
Definitely, sir. Because the major issue here is not just this, but there's a lot of friction anyway between the government and activists all the time. Because and if the department is really understaffed, why don't they put all this information just on their website?
Precisely. The other thing is, there is really mistrust between citizens and government. This can be removed by more transparency.
Exactly, and RTI is the only way to get more transparency.
That's right. So, I mean, and by my rough calculation, you don't need more than 16,000 employees to deal with 1 crore RTI applications. Most probably 1 crore are not being filed nationally today. But even if you assume 1 crore applications, this will need 16,000, let's say 18,000, 20,000, full-time. This is a full-time figure. It doesn't work like this. It actually works with so many people doing, small time bits. This whole concept that too much time is required is absurd. Second, for a fundamental right, you cannot really charge. But the charge is meant to be token, notional, so that, there's some kind of a sanctity to it.
Exactly.
Tomorrow they will say, for freedom of speech, you want to talk, you will have to pay a cost.
That will be ridiculous.
So this is as ridiculous as that.
And sir, recently there was this issue about the Air India flight getting diverted just because it had been called to pick up Praful Patel's daughter, and one of the ridiculed passengers, he just filed an RTI and he came to know about this, that is why their flight had been diverted at the end moment, and they had gotten compensation for it. And the reason why they were not disclosing it is that they were saying it is for the business consequence. So, because RTI makes even such ad hoc decisions accountable.
Absolutely. No, in fact, it does a bigger thing. Slowly, as arbitrariness comes into the picture, people stop becoming arbitrary like this.
Definitely, because they will have a check over them.
That's right. So this is a monitor. It is thousands of citizens monitoring various government activities. Instead of imagining that there will be government vigilance people who will monitor all this, it gives the power to citizens. Plus, if governments are acting in a transparent and correct manner, it builds more faith in governance.
Definitely, and isn't that what democracy really is?
That's right. So that's what really, so therefore this is ridiculous. I am hoping they will withdraw this and they'll reduce this charge back to 10 and 2. I have sent letters to the Chief Minister and the leader of the opposition and the Speaker.
Yes, sir, I can.
And I think citizens across the country are doing. Hopefully, citizens and media will send the message. And I'm sure, I'm very clear that the members of the legislature themselves will see the mistake in this decision.
Definitely.
And will correct it.
So, what, in your opinion, what really could be the CG Vidhan Sabha's motive to make this retrograde move? Because is this another attempt by the government to muzzle the RTI, plain blunt?
That's a possibility, but for the moment, let's trust the Vidhan Sabha, let's trust our elected representatives.
So
and assume that maybe they made a mistake.
They made a mistake, but could that have been without a motive? Without an ulterior motive?
Well, there are two ways of looking at this. One is that, sometimes you feel angry about something.
Definitely.
And in a rush of anger, you make a mistake. So I'd like to believe that instead of believing that there's a design to muzzle citizens.
Definitely.
Let's for the moment give that benefit of doubt to them. And they are our representatives.
We don't possibly have too many options either right now.
No. You see, if they don't listen, citizens will create enough furor.
Definitely it is.
But first, let's appeal to their wisdom, I think.
Do you see this as a discouragement for the common middle class man who might?
Oh yes, it'd be very expensive. 500 rupees application fee and 15 rupees per page is clearly meant to give the message that don't ask for information.
But they say that for people living below the poverty line, they don't have to pay even a single penny, so it's anyway not going to affect that lot, and the middle class can afford it. So how would you
So
counter that?
can it? So how? Tell me, if you are public spirited, okay, and feel that you want to get some information to correct some wrong or to get informed, can you afford 500 rupees an application fee and 15 rupees per page?
Not really.
I don't think so. I don't think most of us can afford that. We may not all be BPL,
Exactly.
but a lot of us will not be able to afford this kind of cost.
Definitely.
That's not the only thing we do in life, is it? So I don't think this is affordable by anyone.
So this is that possibly the only way they could think of doing away with the frivolous applications? What are the other ways, in your opinion, that could do away with such applications?
No, I don't think this is targeted at frivolous applications. I mean, this does not appear to be targeted at frivolous applications.
Then it is targeted at?
Really speaking, it's either anger or irritation at people asking information. Arrogance, maybe arrogance. I mean, that's another thing that irritates a lot of people.
Arrogance, yes. Doesn't this really open the gates for other states as well to increase the fees? And what chances do you think that other states may also follow suit?
I have greater faith in the citizens of this country and our democracy. I believe citizens will bring pressure and the assembly will correct itself.
If it doesn't, assuming it doesn't, what could we do to ensure that other states don't follow? Because if this happens to the whole of India, it's going to be a disaster, definitely.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a question of eternal vigilance being the price of liberty. If look, the central government at one point wanted to amend the act to weaken it, but citizens weren't able to put up enough a voice and show the government that no, they will not allow any amendments. If citizens could do it for that, I have no reason to believe that citizens will not oppose this move with sufficient voice to convince the Legislative Assembly to reduce the charges.
So, sir, what can CIC really do with respect to such action on state basis?
No, the CIC cannot. I have sent an email requesting the Chattisgarh Commissioner. This is a topic which the CIC has no jurisdiction over.
Okay.
The State Commission does have jurisdiction, so I have requested the Chief Information Commissioner of Chattisgarh to use his voice to persuade the Assembly to reduce this.
So,
but officially, the Central Commission has no jurisdiction over this.
Because is that because this actually is under the is in the legal framework, or?
No, it's not. See, the point of law is the law gives you permission to frame your rules and put your fees. Okay, but the law also says that this will be reasonable. Now, by no stretch of imagination can anybody say this is reasonable. So therefore, I believe the State Commission, the Central Commission has no jurisdiction. The State Commission, A, has persuasive value, and 2, can, if required, also give a ruling that this is not reasonable. And this runs counter to the law.
So, in general, we would want to do away with applications, the other senseless applications that eat up a lot of time of the PIO. So, what in general could be the ways of getting to that?
See, one possible thing could be reducing, or limiting the number of words in an application. It can be done through rules.
Definitely, so that will be.
Karnataka has done it, and some states have done it. So that will be one, if that is the objective. And secondly, even if there are what we call vexatious and frivolous, these are not very much. my own analysis, these are no more than about 2 to 5% of the total RTI applications. And let me put it like this, okay. There is nobody in India who does not believe that there are corrupt policemen.
Exactly.
Okay. So do we decide that we'll do away with the police?
That can't be done.
None of us can claim that there are not journalists who will be blackmailing and who may be criminals, in fact. Okay. So do we suggest that we do away with journalism? The politicians who are criminals, do we say therefore we will not have politicians? Whatever is wrong in society, in some measure or the other, will show itself in every activity. So that does not mean that you say that you can do away with these activities or these things. I mean, it's unfortunately true, but that's the nature of a society.
So, sir, how do you think can the state withdraw this action? What exactly will the state do to withdraw this action?
The legislative, it will be the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, who will be the competent authority. All he has to do is say that we are revising our fees back to 2 rupees and 10 rupees. And I think, I'm sure they'll display that wisdom. And I, as a citizen or as a commissioner or as anyone, I would cheer that. I would not criticize and say, why did they do it? I would say, very well. My respect for them would go up, in fact.
Going a little away from this price hike issue, there is this thing that CBI is exempted from the RTI. And so is BCCI. So if our prime investigative agency and BCCI, that is the richest board in the country that runs the game that we treat as a religion, so is that really fair? What do you have to say?
On CBI, I have given a ruling which states that this exemption is not as per the law. It's a ruling I have given officially as a commissioner. BCCI, the position is slightly different.
BCCI, sir.
The position is slightly different. I mean, it would have to be judicially determined whether it is under RTI or not. So, I mean, I can't comment on that.
So, but don't you think, I mean, a little bit that because it's Team India after all, so there is a little feeling to it also. So why, if it's not Team BCCI, then shouldn't it really? Because we are diehard cricket fans. So
no, there is a slightly more complex situation.
Really?
The question is, should you give a private body the authority to say that they are India?
Exactly.
It's a slightly more complex situation there.
Okay.
Supposing your paper or magazine was given the authority to say this is India's official representative, the question is, who's wrong? Is it the nation that is wrong in allowing you to say that? Or are you wrong? I mean, it's a little more complex, that's why I said. I mean, it's not.
Okay. So, sir, I would like to know your opinion about the whole concept of RTI Nation, and how do you think it's helping India, RTI Nation?
I think every activity that deepens and binds our democracy is useful. Okay. And my own conviction is that right to information has the potential of changing the face of India. And since what you are doing is to further the cause of RTI,
definitely,
I believe all of us in various ways are pushing the agenda of a better, deeper, more significant, more meaningful democracy.
Thank you for your views, sir.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.